Today, I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite cash game plays for this Week 8 NFL Draftkings main slate, and like I always do, I'm going to go position by position, talking about each play that I like, and then we'll wrap it up with some honorable mentions. With that being said, let's dive right into this. And we're going to kick things off here at the quarterback position. I got two guys that I'm going to highlight here, but I do have an honorable mention at the end, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I'm either spending up here this week for Lamar Jackson or likely spending down for Sam Darnold. I tend to lean towards the latter, but I don't want to discount Lamar by any means. Priced here at $8,100 this week in a great matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. He looked terrific last week against that Detroit Lions defense, truly playing to his MVP caliber. He currently ranks first in the NFL in rushing yards per game for quarterbacks. He's got the second best passing grade and ranks third in yards per attempt. And this Cardinals defense is just bad all around, allowing the third highest yards per attempt and the fourth highest adjusted completion rate. This should be a matchup that Lamar dominates once again, whether that be through the running game or through the air. And then if I'm looking to save money here at the quarterback position, and everyone's talking about it as they rightfully should, it's Sam Darnold of the 49ers. He's only $4,300 on DraftKings here this week. That means we would need 12.9 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Matchup here at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, with the weapons surrounding him and Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. Unfortunately, no Deebo Samuel here this week, but even with those three in this Kyle Shanahan offense, 13 DraftKings points seems very doable, even for a guy like Sam Darnold. It's very rare we get starting quarterbacks here at this low of a price on DraftKings, and yes, I'd consider it a punting option, but in doing so, it allows us to spend up at other positions and pay up for some high-priced studs. Now, moving over here to the running back position, and there's quite a few running backs that I like here this week in general. Gonna highlight my top three, and then again, got some honorable mentions at the end. I would be willing to spend up for Christian McCaffrey here this week at $9,200, again in a matchup at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. At that price, we need 27.6 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value, and I would be willing to play CMC and Sam Darnold in the same cash lineup. I suspect that Darnold's going to dump the ball off to him quite a bit in his first start of the season. McCaffrey's already a guy who's averaging 21.5 touches per game, 118 total yards per game, and again, that number should increase here with Darnold under center. Bengals do not look very good defensively this year, especially against the run. Ranking 27th overall in rush defensive DVOA is a good spot for CMC overall. Now, one running back who's been an absolute volume monster here this year is Alvin Kamara, the New Orleans Saints, priced at $7,300 on DraftKings here this week in a matchup indoors against the Indianapolis Colts. We need about 22 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value at that price, but again, he's been a volume monster, averaging 26 touches per game, 110 total yards per game. He actually has a 23% target share in this Saints offense. I don't know if that number is sustainable going forward, but needless to say, he's involved in both the running game and passing game here. They're trying to get the ball in his hands as much as possible, and the Colts have been very mediocre against running backs this year, kind of mid-pack if you will, ranking 18th overall in defensive rush DVOA. And then one of the more popular plays you'll see here this week is Breece Hall of the New York Jets, and rightfully so because he's only $5,900 on DraftKings this week in a good matchup against the New York Giants. At that price, we need 17.7 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value, and this is a guy who's just getting more involved in this Jets offense week in and week out ever since coming off of that knee surgery this offseason. In just his last two games, he's averaging 21 touches per game and 144 total yards, truly looking like the guy we saw last year, and now he's coming fresh off a bye, so I really like that. This Giants defense is allowing the 8th most fantasy points per game to running backs this year and ranked 30th overall in defensive rush DVOA. Now, just like the running back position, there's a lot to love about the wide receivers here this week as well. You know, and if you spend down for Sam Darnold, you're going to be able to pay up at both positions more than likely. One guy I'd be willing to spend up for here at the wide receiver position is Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins. He is expensive at $9,500, but I do like the matchup at home here against the New England Patriots. At that price, we need 28.5 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. We know the numbers are going to be there for Tyreek most weeks. He's got a 33% target share, 47% air yard share, while leading all wide receivers in the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns. And again, I do like this matchup, especially considering Miami is at home, but that Patriots defense has not been good against the pass this year either, ranking 23rd overall in defensive pass DVOA. The next guy I got on my list here then is Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers. I was hoping he'd still be in the lower 6K range for us this this week. Did get a price bump up here to $6,600, but honestly, this is a guy who should be priced in the 7K range based off of his volume and the way he's been producing. At this price here, though, we need 19.8 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Matchup at home here against the Houston Texans. And again, the volume has been great for this wide receiver. A 25% target share, 31% air yard share, and really like this number here, a 35% first read share, especially with a rookie quarterback. That's probably not going to change too much going forward. He's looking for that low A-dot throw, and Thielen plays in the slot, giving him that. He's seen A-plus targets here in every single game since week 2, while averaging 26.5 DraftKings points per game. Like I said, he did get a price bump up this week. I don't love that, but he truly should be priced in the 7K range. And then the 5K range here for wide receivers looks really nice here in week 8, not only from a cash game perspective, but also tournament perspective. I'll highlight some of those tournament plays in my video tomorrow. But one guy that I wanted to highlight here in terms of cash this week was Jordan Addison, priced at $5,700 for the Minnesota Vikings. Matchup on the road here against the Green Bay Packers, where we would need 17.1 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Now, in 2 games without Justin Jefferson, Addison has been the number 1 wide receiver in this Vikings offense with a 20% target share, 29% air yard share, and a 27% first read share. Again, really like that number there. Now, if you look at this Packers defense, they're going to look a lot better against the pass than they've truly been. They haven't allowed a lot of points to wide receivers this year, but it's largely due to their schedule. They haven't necessarily faced an elite group of quarterbacks, but if you look at their defensive DVOA, they rank 25th overall against the pass, so I do like this matchup. And then I got a couple of tight ends here for you guys. Now, if you want to spend up for Travis Kelce this week and or Mark Andrews, I got no problem with that. I'm going to highlight Kelce here at $8,400 and a great matchup against the Denver Broncos. At this price, we need 25.2 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Yeah, Mark Andrews in the mid 6K range this week. Again, considering the matchup against the Cards, have no problem with that. But Kelce's numbers are absolutely insane considering his position. Leads all tight ends in target share, air yards, red zone targets, and fantasy points per game. He's basically a wide receiver number 1. That's how I look at it. And this Broncos defense, we all know how bad they've been this year, ranking dead last in pass DVOA. Now, if you want to spend up at other positions here this week, whether that be the quarterback, running back, or wide receiver position, and want to spend down here for tight ends, there are a handful of guys that I think we can consider in the 3K range, but the one that I want to highlight here is Dalton Schultz of the Houston Texans. He's priced at $3,900 this week in a matchup on the road against the Carolina Panthers. At this price, we need 11.7 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value, and I certainly don't mind his numbers here, especially over the last 3 weeks. He's been even better. But over the season, he's got a 15% target share, 16% air yard share, and a 16% first read share. He's also got 7 red zone targets. I really like that. And he scored a touchdown now in each of his last 3 games. Now, as far as defenses go this week, there were a few I considered in the 2K range, but the one that I want to get to, if at all possible, is the Atlanta Falcons at $2,900, especially ever since we got word here that rookie quarterback in Will Levis is expected to make his first start for the Tennessee Titans. That's pretty much why I want to play the Falcons here. I do not expect much from Will Levis here in this Titans offense, but on top of that, this Falcons defense has been very good against the run this year, ranking 5th overall in rush defensive DVOA, so they're going to try and stop Derrick Henry here and make Will Levis try and beat them through the air, through the passing game, if you will. So again, if I can get there at $2,900, I definitely want to do that, where we would need 8.7 DraftKings points in order for them to hit 3x value. And as always, going to wrap up this video here with those honorable mentions, and I actually have 8 here this week, so let's dive right into it. Now, if you want to spend up at the quarterback position here this week, honestly, I don't think we can go wrong with Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, or Lamar Jackson. All 3 of those guys truly do have good matchups this week, and we know the upside they bring week in and week out. I got 3 other running backs there that I'm considering, and Travis Etienne Jr. against the Steelers, Isaiah Pacheco against the Broncos, and then if I'm looking to save some money, I like Kareem Hunt on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. 3 other wide receivers receivers there as well. We got Christian Kirk against the Steelers, Zay Flowers against the Cardinals, Josh Down against the Saints. It looks like a difficult matchup, but the Saints have actually struggled against slot wide receivers this year, and Down's still too cheap in my opinion at $4,800. And then if you're really looking to punt at the tight end position, I think we can go with Trey McBride against the Ravens. Definitely a difficult matchup, but he's only $2,800. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great weekend here, folks. Let's win some money on this Week 8 main slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.